800-919-3776. It's Free for All Friday. Ira in Staten Island wants to talk about the New York Jets. Hello, Ira. Oh, hold on. I got to punch up Ira. Ira, hello. That was my fault. Hello, Ira.
All good, all good. Man, what a shame with Tony Romo. It's unfortunate. But you would think with that type of money involved, on their end, there's got to be some type of clause in the contract that if anything like this happens, they're out of it, I would think, right?
Well, they also clearly weren't in love with how he's been broadcasting the last couple of years because they had a full-on intervention that Andrew Marchand reported about, and then I think CBS got upset that he used the term intervention, but that's kind of what it sounded like. And now you have this. This might be exactly what CBS needs to get out of that deal, so I wonder what happens now if we've seen the last of them at CBS.
Yeah, well, just hope for the best, whatever his issues are. But, getting with the Jets, listen, it's very early in camp. I see what Glenn's doing with 2 days on, 2 days off, and 3 days on, 2 days off. He's slowly building them up. Maybe,
I'm not trying to be a butthole.
This sports performance team, I guess they figured they're going that way. But you brought up Baker Mayfield. And I tell you the truth, there's no guarantees in next year's draft. You know it as well as I do. All these guys are made out to be, sure things, and you see how that works out. If you could get your hands on Baker Mayfield, I'm willing to go in that direction. I really am.
What would you trade for him, though, Ira? Because that's the thing. I'm certainly interested in Baker. I think he's a really good player, really good quarterback. I think he's got the exact type of mentality you need to be able to handle all the you-know-what that comes with being the Jet quarterback. I mean, he won a playoff game in Cleveland. He can handle the Jets. So I like him a lot. But, what am I giving up for Baker Mayfield? Because the Bucs aren't just going to let him go. They'll put the tag on him, and you're going to have to trade for him at the end of the year.
I would have no issue giving up a one and maybe another pick in a player because, let's face it, look what the Jets did in 08. They had Pennington, and all of a sudden, beginning August, Favre comes walking in the door. So I'm not saying it's going to happen this summer. Maybe it happens in the off season. But, man, oh, man, if I could roll the dice and I could get Baker Mayfield instead of taking a shot at one of these kids coming out of college next year, I'm all in on Mayfield.
Ira, good call. Here's the thing. I just don't think Tampa's trading Baker Mayfield right now. This is not 08 with Favre where he was only available because he came back out of retirement and the Packers finally said enough. We're going with Aaron Rodgers. We drafted him in the first round 3 years earlier. When was the last time a quarterback got traded in the summer as good as Baker Mayfield? That wasn't Favre in 08 because that was a unique situation. The Jets could call. I don't think Tampa's trading him. I think Tampa's trying to win this year. But it's clear that they didn't want to commit long-term to Baker. They gave him a deal a couple of years ago. It was a 3-year deal. And last year he got out to the great start. The team down the stretch didn't play well. He's clearly playing through some injuries. He's upset they didn't give him a longer commitment. They apparently only offered him a 2-year contract. I would love Baker Mayfield on the Jets. I'd trade one of the Jets' first-round picks in a nanosecond for Baker. But I don't think you could offer the Bucs Geno Smith in a first, and they're going to say yes to that. Todd Bowles got to win games to save his job. They basically forced him to fire his whole coaching staff last year. I don't think Baker Mayfield's a true option for the Jets, at least not right now. And then you got to let the year play out, I think, if you are the Jets. I agree with the premise of if you could get a proven commodity at quarterback, I lean with that over having to take a chance on someone in the draft, but that's easier said than done. Say Tampa has a so-so season, and they're actually willing to move on from Baker Mayfield. You know how many teams are going to be in on that? And then you got to see where the Jets are in that scenario. If you're able to get Arch Manning, I'd rather do that than Baker. I know it's you have no idea what the future holds with him or whoever the next anointed top QB is, but I want my own guy if I can. I want that guy on a rookie deal. If the Jets are in a spot where they win too many games and the Colts aren't as bad as we think and they can't get one of these top quarterbacks because maybe there's only 2 or 3 and the Jets are on the outside looking in, and it's either you trade up to try and get one of those players or you could trade for Baker, then that's a different conversation. Again, I really like Baker Mayfield. I think he's a good quarterback. And again, you need to have the right mentality to handle playing in this media market. I think you either need to be like Eli Manning, where nothing phases you. You just can handle it, take responsibility, never create a headline. Or you need to be like Baker, who plays with an edge and has a chip on his shoulder. Like, again, Baker Mayfield here talking about why he feels he's disrespected. Like, this is why I think he can handle being the Jet quarterback, but there's just so many things that are unknown right now about the situation with the Jets and the Bucs to even contemplate a let's bring in Baker Mayfield scenario.
I wanted the deal done and set the deadline and told them it was going to be all ball after that, and I did mean that. And I don't know if they thought I was just going to take some of the offers that they gave, but I'm at the point in my career and understanding what I've brought to this franchise. One, I'm very, very thankful for the chance they gave me. Do not get me wrong on that. But I've also I really know what I've brought to this franchise, leadership-wise and even play-wise. It's been some of the best years of my career, and I think it's only going to trend upwards, just being comfortable and feeling that. So disappointing in that regard to not have, to feel disrespected a little bit. And that's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after, thinking you've earned it. This is not a poor me thing. There's a lot of other people that have it way worse off.
If I could get him now, I would. I'd trade one of my first and a second. Now that Tampa might ask for the Jets first, or they might do the Darren Muji. Let's get the better of your 3-1s. And I probably would do it if I'm the Jets, because Baker Mayfield, it's not like you're bringing in Favre or Rodgers, who are 40 years old when you're making the move. Baker Mayfield turns 31 this year. He can be your quarterback the next 5 years, easily. He's a good quarterback. So I'd be interested. I think it's a moot point. I don't think Tampa's trading him. They're not going to take back a first in Geno Smith. I just don't see it. Darren Muji can call. Look, he's made more trades than any GM not named Howie Roseman since he's taken over the Jets. So I think if there's a scenario where he's actually available, the Jets could call. Do your homework, fine. But I don't see it. And again, it's easy to say just get him in the offseason. Well, what if the Jets could get the top quarterback? Don't you want to at least see how it plays out when you have 3 first-round picks? There's just too much of an unknown to just say, yep, go get Baker Mayfield. I'm open to it. It's more likely, I'll say this, it's more likely Baker Mayfield is a Jet than Joe Burrow is a Jet. That was a conversation on this radio station last year. If Burrow asked out, could the Jets make a move for him? Sure, Joe Burrow would definitely want to play on the MetLife turf for Woody Johnson after he's experienced the Cincinnati Bengals for the first 8 years of his career. I don't even know if it's been 8 years yet. He goes from one fantastic ownership group to another. From the Brown family to the Johnson family. Baker's more realistic. But there's just a lot of unknowns before I could even really entertain the conversation. I truly believe that when the Jets traded Sauce Gardner and Quinn Williams, Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn presented Woody Johnson with a plan that said, we are going to build our team. Clearly, we started 0-7. We were not good enough. Hopefully, Aaron Glenn raised his hand and said, I personally sucked, because he did. And we're going to build our roster, our infrastructure up, and eventually in a much better, loaded 2027 draft, loaded QB class, we're going to go out there and get our quarterback then. That's what I think the plan they sold Woody on. Could they divert and do something different with said plan? Absolutely. But we got to see how the year plays out. How many quarterbacks actually emerge? A year ago, I heard, Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, Lenora Sellers. I heard all these guys were amazing quarterbacks, and the 2026 NFL draft was going to be stacked with QBs. The guy who went first overall, no one knew his name at this time a year ago, and Fernando Mendoza. It was a one-quarterback draft. Ty Simpson, who was a first-round pick, is not playing for at least a year or two. I think it will be a better quarterback class in 2027 than it was this past year, but we still got to see how the year goes. If the Jets aren't in position to get someone, or it's like we got to trade up to get one of them, or I could just trade for Mayfield, give me Mayfield every time. But he's got to be available, and I'm not convinced that Tampa's just going to trade him. Because then Tampa needs a quarterback. Jake Browning is not their future. I can promise you that. They're back up behind Baker. 800-919-3776 is the number to call to be on the show. Bob Wischusen, the voice of the Jets.
Bob.
Look at that first round draft.
Bob.
He's going to be joining us coming up in just a bit. But let's say hello to Ron in New Jersey. Hello, Ron. You're on the Michael K. Show with Jake Asman.
Hey, Jake. How you doing?
What's up, Ron?
Nothing. Just I'm calling to talk about the whole Baker Mayfield situation there. He's a really good quarterback, and I would do it probably for a first-round pick. But Jake, here we are right now, loaded up with 3 first-rounders in a supposedly a loaded quarterback class. So I was hoping for my GM coach combination to finally, after all these years, do the right thing and just actually go pick a quarterback, like for your franchise, a young guy, and groom him, and you take advantage of that, the rookie contract and everything. I just wanted to see that we grew up and actually did it right one time in a class that's we have a pretty good shot at getting one. I would believe so. That's what I'm hoping for. Like, if you can't do it, you keep reaching, and like I said, you're going to give up a first rounder for him. Yes, you're going to get the big contract. I know they're going to have the money to do it, with the cap and everything. But yeah, if it was a easy deal, yeah, I guess so. But Jake, I dream of these teams that pick the right guy as a rookie and they grow within the franchise, and they're all around the league. We just can't seem to do it. I mean, since Pennington, I guess.
But here's what's scary, Ron. Here's what's scary. Great call. The Jets got the pick right with Darnold. They drafted a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They failed Sam Darnold. That's the difference. Sam Darnold could play. He could play. We saw the talent. The last 4 games of his rookie year, he led the NFL in passer rating. And then you know what the Jets' genius plan was? To have Sam Darnold take the next step in year 2? Let's go and get him Adam Gase. That was the plan. So you could pick the right quarterback and still not know if you fail to have the right coach and the right infrastructure around the QB. And the Jets actually have, I think, a good O-line. They got some real weapons. I think Sadiq and Cooper were nice additions in the draft. Garrett Wilson, A.D. Mitchell, Mason Taylor. Breece Hall has been extended. They have players. Like, they're actually a good spot, I think, for a young QB from a talent standpoint. The head coach, the offensive coordinator, we're going to find out this year. Because if Aaron Glenn stinks, Frank Reich's going to be gone, and they're going to have a new coach that comes in, and I pray to the football gods Woody Johnson wakes up and hires someone with experience that knows what they're doing. The Mariners finally got it right. They said, we're tired of hiring first-timers who suck. Let's hire John Harbaugh. That's what the Jets, I think, eventually will get to, but we're not there yet. But it's so much more than just you're drafting a quarterback. Of course, Ron, the dream is the Jets, they draft Arch Manning or they draft whoever, and they're awesome, and they're our guy. But they actually drafted the right player in Darnold, and it still didn't work because they failed him. And that's proof. He's won 14 games the last 2 years, and he won this thing called the Super Bowl, if people are familiar with that. I know Jet fans we aren't, besides Joe Willie in 1968. Ugh. The Jake Asman Show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks right now. If you're a sports fan, they have something for everyone, especially if you're one of my listeners and you're gearing up for the upcoming Jets season. For player picks on PrizePicks, you just pick a player you like and you go more or less on a few of their stats. Check out some of the numbers they have for some of your favorite Jet players. Geno Smith, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, and many more. PrizePicks should be your go-to. And check out their new offer right now. Play your first $5 and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you need to do is sign up and use that code HMA. That's PrizePicks code HMA. Download the app now or click the link in the description to download the PrizePicks app today.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.